What's up, everybody? We are back. John Delarose here, delarose.com. That's DELARROZ.com. And you can make sure you look at all my videos there and all my blog posts. And sign up for my newsletter and make sure you never miss an awesome comic video or blog post and get updated on my new releases for my comics. Go to delarose.com. All right. We have Fantastic Four, the Epic Collection, Volume 5. And we've read through all of the Fantastic Four on the channel so far, up to Volume 5, of course. And this continues the Kirby and Lee run. Now, we last left off. I can talk on. Gosh, the last one was the sort of Galactus era and really diving into the Inhumans. Getting into the Silver Surfer's origin and continuance at that. Really great stuff. I would say that Fantastic Four Volume 4 and, end of Volume 3 also is some of the best comics of all time. And this continues very nicely also. We get Fantastic Four number 68 through 87 with annual number 6 and Not Brand Ek number 6 and 7, which I don't love those so much. I don't actually find them funny. But what can you do? All right. So it starts out, and the original title of this book was going to be By Ben Betrayed. And in the first couple issues here, Ben undergoes a treatment by Reed to try to make him not the Thing, and someone actually breaks in as a bad guy, messes up with the treatment, and Ben becomes just like this angry monster who just who fights them off. And here's the cover for that beautiful cover here. And he is posing as some scientist, as Reed's friend. I forget who it is. It's this guy. Gosh, I can't remember the names. What can you do? And then they have to fight Ben, basically. It's pretty interesting stuff. And then we get killer androids. And you'll start to see that around this era, and I don't want to complain too much about this stuff because these were very fun comics. I think Kirby's really at his peak in terms of his artistic drawing capability. That's just beautiful stuff right there. Very cool stuff. But on the story end, what we're going to find throughout this issue is that they're going to fight an android from the Thinker. They're going to fight an android from Dr. Doom. They're going to fight and it gets a little bit of redundant storytelling in here, like they just were kind of rehashing ideas and you know what, the personal developments start to stall out a little bit. We had a Johnny and Crystal drama in the last one, which is pretty big. But in this one, there's not as much. So yeah, we got the android coming through. The big personal drama, I guess, throughout this series here. Gosh, these are beautiful art by Kirby, though. It's like, this might be better art than the last ones. But, it's hard to tell. You go through any Kirby art, and every single time it's just like, boom. And you can tell the really thick lines, which I believe are Joe Sinnott's inking. Yeah. And Joe Sinnott really does heavy work on Kirby's art here, but I like it. I don't know. I watched a video by, who is that? Comic Tropes, and I believe his conclusion was that he actually kind of ruined Kirby's art, but I disagree. I think it looks fantastic. Fantastic for the Fantastic Four. And this is where we get into the cool stuff. So the Silver Surfer storyline is you can tell they just have a little bit more passion about these stories when they write them. And the Silver Surfer goes, and just beautiful art again, is blowing up Earth because he's like, you know what? If I give up mankind a common enemy, they will come together against me. And he realizes it was kind of a foolish effort and at the end of it, and kind of just backs down. And we start getting into some weird endings in some of these. Like, usually there's a villain defeated or something like that. Towards the end of this volume, there's a lot of, like, the villain escaped. Because they're really just setting things up so they can just kind of repeat, you fight this villain again, you fight this villain again, and kind of drag things on a little bit. But this is a strange ending in that the Fantastic Four don't really do much to defeat him. They really he just stops and is like, yeah, I realized I was wrong. See you guys. And that was it. Very, very bizarre. But I very much enjoyed that issue also. We get some nice guest stars. Spider-Man and Thor and Daredevil. Think the Fantastic Four are not who they say they are. Or was it the other way around? I think it's the other way around. I think they think that they're Doom deals. And you know, they have the hero fight and then they get back together. Now, back to the Silver Surfer, and this is the beautiful part where it starts. You get a little tease of the Silver Surfer, and then you get this awesome, look at this Galactus art. Oh my gosh. The colors that are used on this with just like the purples and just very trippy and cool. But Galactus is showing back up because he's hungry. He's a hungry dude. And so he's calling on the Silver Surfer to help him. Silver Surfer hides, and they go into this microverse. And the microverse was interesting. I saw it for the first time developed in the old Stan Lee, Steve Ditko shorts, in that it was like in the Strange Suspense Omnibus. And they go into this, like, basically in that one, a guy just shrinks down and realizes there's a small universe below that. In this one, the Fantastic Four actually get into this microverse, and they bring back another villain. So Galactus is holding Earth hostage, and so Reed's got to find the Silver Surfer to save everybody, and everything's looking like it's gonna blow up. And they get in there, and Subatomica, here we go. So they go in, and here we are. Look at the beautiful Silver Surfer trippy cosmic stuff in here. Just awesome. This whole storyline for several issues is great. And you've got this guy, Psycho Man, and he showed up in an annual before, and he actually was a small guy who took over this giant robot in order to try to, I guess, get out of his subatomic whatever. And the Fantastic Four defeated him, but now they're going to his realm. And there's a MacGuffin in this storyline. Oh, that's not this one. Sorry. But they go to his realm and have to fight him in order to get out. The MacGuffin is another thing. They go into the negative zone. Like I said, the concepts kind of get repeated. Like, they go into Subatomica and have to do their thing, and then they get out. Later on, they go into the negative zone, have to do their thing, and get out. And they're kind of the same. You mean they're different, but they're the same. Just like they're fighting the robot at the beginning, and then they're fighting more robots down the line. It's a little bit of repetitious stuff, and I just feel like maybe, I don't know what was going on at the time. Maybe Stan Lee had too many titles. They're trying to just like move into just brand maintenance instead of actual brand building at this point. Don't know. But that's my one complaint about the volume is that compared to the last couple of volumes where there's tons of innovation, tons of new stuff, this just feels like there's some repetitious stuff going on in it. And of course, since I read this whole thing, you know, I lose track of what story I'm in because they're similar. Beautiful Kirby machinery and buildings of alien worlds are really like the coolest part of Kirby, I think. You get these cool little designs all the way up here. This had to take painstaking amount of work. Just awesome looking stuff. And they make it out. And then we're back to the Thing drama again. And the Thing is going to, again, like at the beginning of this, you get some sort of treatment where he becomes normal. And this time he does succeed. And we get a Return of the Wizard. Pretty fun. Ben is Ben at this point. This is a really bizarre scene. So Crystal kisses Ben. And then Ben's like, or then the Human Torch is like, no. And Crystal straight up calls Johnny childish over her kissing him. How can you be jealous of your own best friend? It's like, dude, woman, you went too far. Come on. You can kiss anyone you want to. It's like, what? But he didn't. Just so long as his initials are Johnny Storm. But very bizarre teasing by Crystal there. It's an interesting character moment. So, nice little pinup of Reed and Sue. I've noticed that also there's a couple things that go on in Kirby's art in this volume, which I wasn't too sure happened in the volumes before, but it seems like he's moved to a lot of 4-panel layouts at this point, which I guess is probably for speed for drawing. And there's like at least 1, maybe 2 splash pages like this per issue, sometimes more. He really is leaning on the splash pages a lot more than he was in prior volumes. So again, I don't know if it's a speed thing, but I know that ended up being Kirby's signature style. You see it again right here, just more splash pages. And Ben, of course, becomes the thing again. So we go back and we get Wyatt Wingfoot, who just disappeared for several issues, but they go to his tribe's area and there's this like weird thing. And guess what? It turns out it's a robot again that they're fighting. Android, robot, whatever. Now, the cool part about this is obviously you saw that green one from before. At least this design is freaking really cool. I mean, Kirby really outdid himself here. What an awesome thing. So there's that. And then they go into the negative zone. And this is the annual number 6. And they go into the negative zone because they need to find some antimatter thing. And this is the MacGuffin thing. That kind of a silly storyline here where Reed really is just trying to find this thing. And it happens to be part of the villain's get up. And for some reason, it's going to save Sue. And it's hand-waviumed. And so it is just a MacGuffin that they're chasing after for the plot, and it's silly. And it's a very long storyline. I think this is like a 48-page storyline. But they go in to the negative zone, and the negative zone has been developed only a couple of times up until this point. I love the Kirby collage art stuff too. This doesn't get done all that much, but when you see it, it's like, ooh, cool. And what Kirby did was just take normal objects he had around, stick them together, run them over a photocopier, and then put whatever's going on top of it to make this like cosmic look to it. Pretty cool. And there's this introduces Annihilus, who's a pretty big negative zone villain, very scary dude, very cool design again by Kirby. Look at the shade work by Sinot here, just like wow. I mean, he really just like creates this whole evil vibe here, which is great. Looks like a lizard-ish, I don't know, lizard bat thing. But Annihilus has this like wand or something, and that's what Reed's trying to get back. And it's pretty drawn out as far as these Silver Age stories go. I mean, not that much happens. They Act 1, they pretty much get with Annihilus here. And I was going to talk about the history of the Negative Zone, which I think Volume 3 was the first time we saw it, but it wasn't named the Negative Zone at that point. And then Volume 4, we kind of had one run-in with it, and some folk came out of it. And now we get Annihilus. So that's lots of running from Annihilus, and then finally just making their way out of there. And then Sue's got a baby. And if you notice that the annuals have these interesting moments, like we have the wedding and the baby coming, they really like do some good development in the annuals early on in these, which later on I feel like Marvel Comics doesn't do a ton of development via annuals. The annuals are almost like anthologies later on. So interesting that they do that up here at this point. Crystal kind of officially joins the Fantastic Four. She makes herself a uniform, and this is a Crystal fight against the Wizard again. Yes, again. And then she's inducted as a member pretty much from this point forward, as Sue is out having a baby. And we get some Inhumans action during this, and they fight Maximus and that. Good stuff. And we're getting towards the end of this volume here. So we got Crystal proving herself, and now we get into the Doom storyline. Good storyline also. The ending is actually probably my least favorite storyline ending of anything I've read in the Fantastic Four volumes. It's such a letdown. Very cool stuff in here. The Fantastic Four go into Latveria, which is Doom's country, which he owns. You get lots of cool backgrounds drawn and all this awesome stuff. It looks like World War I thing. Look at this rooster. Very cool. And Doom is controlling them via like hypnosis and things like that, of course. And all the villagers are sedated, and he's got robots. Of course, they're going to fight robots again. And so you get back to that. Now it's Doom's robots instead of somebody else's robots. And that's okay. The setting does make this work pretty well. In the background, Sue is home and looking for a house and kind of disappeared. And so they have their fight, and then Sue actually shows up. I don't know how she showed up, but she showed up pretty fast. And she actually saved them from getting exploded from with her invisible force shield. So that was interesting. That's not the end I'm talking about, though, because there's one issue left. So after they get saved, and this is the coolest cover out of all of them. I love this colors. It really adds this like creepy vibe to it, like everything's sad and about to be weird. And it says it's the most offbeat ending of the year. And it really is. Mainly because it doesn't make any sense. So they go to Doom's castle. They fight their way to Doom. There's this weird guy in there. And Doom is like, hey, why don't you come have a feast to the ladies? And he calls them my pretties at one point, which seems very weird for dialogue for Doom, calling them my pretties. I don't know. And then when all the Fantastic Four arrive and get past his guards and things like that, he's just like, okay, I'm just gonna let you go. I grow weary of this, and that's it. And this was like, for a 4-issue storyline, this was so off-putting to me, because I was just sitting there like, he just let him go. Like, I mean, this is Doctor Doom, and we've seen 4 volumes of Doctor Doom and his attempts to ruin and kill the Fantastic Four and all that, and he just let him go, and it just doesn't make sense. Just really does not make any sense whatsoever. So, I don't know. They knew it. They put it on the cover, and that was that. Then it gets into the issues of Not Brand Eck, and they just do some parodies. So, yep, that's that. So I was kind of bummed out by the ending of this. I just thought that like that was a really sort of a letdown of a story ending as it built up. Again, I just feel like there's not as much innovation in this volume as there was in previous volumes. I still had fun with it. And like I said, their repetitive storylines are kind of just like, okay. But it seems like they're settling into a spot now where they're just maintaining brand instead of going and really developing too much. There was enough with Sue having a baby and with Crystal joining to make it at least somewhat interesting. But I didn't love this as much as I loved Volumes 3 and Volume 4. Still amazing. Jack Kirby's art is just top of his game right here. The designs with Annihilus, with that totem robot, I mean, those were just really cool things to look at. Same with all the backgrounds in the Microverse and in Doom's Latveria. Good stuff there. Just the storytelling felt a little uninspired compared to prior volumes. Pacing's still good on everything. Got to get handed to him there. You know, you can plow through this pretty good and really just never get bored so much. And so I'll give it an 8 out of 10, and I believe I gave 9 out of 10 for the last volume. I don't remember for sure, but it's just on its way down, and I know that we have the last Kirby volume coming up next, which is Volume 6, which will have the famed issue that he didn't complete, and then they kind of fudged a storyline over. I can't wait to read that one. So, cool stuff. Also, I should note that the Silver Surfer Volume 1, When Calls Galactus, has material from Volume, I believe, 3, 4, and 5 here of the Fantastic Four. It's got a little Hulk deal, which you can get in the Hulk Epic Collections. So all of that material is contained within other Epic Collections. You actually don't need to buy that Silver Surfer one, nor read it once you get to this point. So you can, of course, just read the Silver Surfer stuff within Silver Surfer. I think it works better in the context of Fantastic Four because it's building through what's going on in those storylines. And so if you read these, volumes 3 through 5, and then a couple extra stories out there, you've pretty much read that volume. That is something to note of this. All right, hit that like and subscribe button, guys. I'll be back soon, and thank you for watching. See ya.